my confident and generous Leo friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. Leo, there's a particular kind of heaviness that seems to settle just behind your chest this week, as if you've been carrying the last fragments of a story that's run its course. You might notice how easy it is to feel the pull of old disappointments, how they show up unexpectedly in the quiet moments, or in the way your shoulders tense when someone's words brush a sore spot. There's an unspoken fatigue in the air, a sense of being done with something, even if you haven't told anyone how finished you feel on the inside. The world around you keeps moving, but you sense your own pause, a silent plea for things to be lighter, for some corner of your experience to finally release its grip. You can feel the difference between what you show and what you hold back. That space between is where much of your energy sits right now, in the tension of endings, in the weight of what can't be changed, in the hope that letting go will finally bring relief. This inner landscape, the tiredness, the resolve, the quiet ache, all of it comes to the surface with the 10 of Swords. There's a recognition here that words may not reach, the way you know deep in your bones when something has truly ended. You feel it in the sharp clarity that comes after the storm, when there's nothing more to argue for, nothing left to salvage. Maybe you've been pressing yourself to keep going, or holding onto a pattern that's no longer serving you. It's possible you've been through a series of small betrayals, some from others, some from yourself, promises made and broken, dreams adjusted to fit reality. There's a certain exhaustion that comes from fighting what's already over. You may notice it in your body, in the way you sigh without realizing, or in the quiet moments when your mind replays the same scenario, looking for a way it could have ended differently. But underneath that exhaustion there's a strange relief too, a sense that with every door that closes you're given permission to stop struggling against what you cannot change. The ache is real, but it's not endless. There's a clarity in your pain, a sense that with the end of this chapter comes a kind of strange freedom. You're not numb, you're awake to the full measure of what's been lost, but you're also beginning to sense the possibility of rest. You notice how the urge to fix and mend gives way to a deeper desire, to simply let yourself be, to breathe in the quiet that follows the storm. There's a quiet dignity in surrendering to what's already over. In the weeks past, you may have felt alone in this, but this week, there's a brittle honesty to your feelings. They're asking to be seen, not solved. It's not about bouncing back. It's about honoring that you've reached your limit and allowing the ending to be as real as anything that came before. That's where you begin. From this place where the weight of what's done presses on your spirit, the path forward begins to reveal itself. The emptiness makes space for something new, but not right away. First, there's the quiet aftermath, the gentle noticing of what remains. This isn't a leap into action, but rather a gradual softening. The exhaustion gives way to a cautious curiosity, a wondering of what life could look like if you weren't always bracing for the next blow. As the ache settles, you might find yourself drawn to small comforts, or surprised by the urge to nurture something fragile within. There's a subtle shift, almost imperceptible, as you move from the sharp edge of loss toward a softer landscape. The path ahead isn't paved with certainty, but with an openness to whatever can grow in the wake of endings. The longing to be done with struggle doesn't just disappear, it evolves into a readiness to care for yourself in ways you haven't before. This is the bridge from inner pain to outward possibility, the quiet, tentative hope that maybe, just maybe, something gentle could follow what's been so hard. Here enters the energy of the Empress, a momentum that isn't rushed but insistent all the same. Life, despite everything, keeps reaching for growth. You begin to notice small invitations around you, a friend's easy laughter, the comfort of a favorite meal, the way sunlight filters through your window in the morning. There's a gentle pressure now, a sense that the world hasn't given up on you, even if you've felt finished yourself. The friction between your exhaustion and this new life force is palpable. At times, you might resist it, not wanting to be pulled into the demands of nurturing or creating when you still feel so raw. Yet the world is patient. The Empress asks nothing but your presence, your willingness to notice where life is quietly trying to move through you. This could look like tending to your body with more care, giving yourself extra rest, or allowing yourself to feel pleasure without guilt. There's a slow regathering of strength here, a momentum that builds quietly, almost beneath your awareness. You may feel the tension of wanting to shut down while also being drawn to reconnect, to find warmth, to rediscover softness. The world keeps offering small moments of beauty and connection, and though you may not trust them at first, you're also not turning away. The week's events might nudge you back toward what feels nourishing, even as you're still carrying the old ache. The pressure isn't for grand gestures or sweeping change. It's for simple acts of care, for allowing yourself to be held by the rhythms of life again. Sometimes, this can feel like friction, like being asked to grow before you feel ready, or to let something gentle touch the parts of you still tender from loss. But the Empress doesn't demand, she invites. And as you move through the week, you might catch yourself reaching for comfort, for connection, for softness, almost in spite of yourself. This is the friction and momentum of life insisting that you're still here, still capable of nurturing and being nurtured, even in the wake of exhaustion. The possibility that emerges from this journey isn't automatic. It waits for your conscious engagement, for a willingness to meet each moment as it comes. The ache of what's ended doesn't vanish with time alone. It transforms only when you allow yourself to be present with it, to let it move through you. The path of gentle care, of noticing beauty in small places, is one you choose again and again. Potential isn't a prize waiting at the end of your pain. It's what unfolds in the space you create by not turning away from either grief or new growth. What becomes possible is shaped by your willingness to be with yourself, exactly as you are in each moment, to neither rush the process nor linger in what's no longer true. This is where your next chapter finds its beginning, not in grand declarations, but in the quiet act of being present for whatever arises. The Three of Swords rises here, not as a sentence but as an invitation. There is a vulnerability in growth, especially when it follows loss. The heart, marked by disappointment or heartbreak, is left open, sensitive to every feeling. Rather than demanding you armor up or push forward, this moment asks you to notice the wisdom in your pain. Growth is not about erasing what's hurt, but about letting your experience soften you to your own needs. You may find that your openness brings unexpected clarity. Emotions that once felt overwhelming now appear as signals, pointing you toward what matters most. There's no need to seek out more struggle. Instead, you're invited to honor the tenderness that remains. In this space, you realize that healing isn't passive. It's a series of small, deliberate choices to let yourself feel, to let yourself be seen, even if only by yourself. The possibility is not to escape pain, but to allow it to guide you toward greater honesty with yourself and with others. The invitation is to notice where you want to close off and to gently lean into staying open, even just a little. This isn't a promise that things will be easy, but a reminder that your heart, though marked by sorrow, is also capable of compassion, for yourself, for the story that's ending, and for the one that's quietly beginning. There's dignity in carrying your pain with awareness, and in allowing it to become a teacher rather than a burden. Through this, your sense of self expands. You find that you can hold both loss and hope, both ending and beginning, without having to explain or justify either. Growth, at its core, is the willingness to remain present, even when it hurts, knowing that presence itself is a form of healing. As you gather up the threads of this week, the narrative of 10 of Swords, the Empress, and 3 of Swords weaves itself into a single tapestry. You began in the ache of endings, where exhaustion and relief met beneath the surface. The sense of being done, of reaching the end of a long struggle, was real, and it shaped the way you moved through your days. Yet even in that emptiness, life continued to reach for you, offering small, tender invitations to reconnect, to nurture, to begin again in the quietest of ways. The friction between your longing for rest and the world's gentle insistence on growth created a space where new possibilities could emerge, not through force, but through slow, deliberate care. And as you met this moment with honesty, with a willingness to feel what's real no matter how uncomfortable, the door to your own growth quietly creaked open. Pain did not vanish, but it lost its power to define you. Instead, it became part of a larger story, one in which hope and heartbreak can coexist. This week you stand at a threshold, not of sudden transformation, but of gradual renewal. You can trust that honoring your endings makes space for beginnings, and that every act of care, no matter how small, plants a seed for what's next. In the end, your capacity to feel, to nurture, and to remain open is what carries you forward. There is reassurance in knowing that your pain is not wasted. It's woven into the fabric of your becoming. The road ahead may be uncertain, but you are not lost. You are simply arriving again and again at yourself. Actionable insights for Leo this week. This week's gentle theme invites you to notice where old hurts shape your day's rhythm. You could try letting yourself rest a little longer before reaching for answers. You might find comfort in something simple like making space for beauty at home. If a feeling lingers, you could acknowledge it quietly without needing to explain. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I let myself feel what's real right now. I honor the endings that have shaped me. I allow care and comfort to reach me. I am open to healing in my own time. I trust that my strength is growing, one breath at a time. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.